Into Germany, the business podcast from the heart of Europe. Hey AI, I'm traveling to Berlin tomorrow for some meetings. Can you organize my trip?
Of course. I see you have a meeting at 10 a.m. in Berlin Mitte. I'll look for the best travel options. I've found 3 options. The fastest is the 7:02 a.m. train from Munich. Shall I book it?
Yes, please.
Done. Taxi reserved for 6:20 a.m. I noticed that your meeting location is close to your usual hotel. I've booked a room. And since your return train is after 7 p.m., I've scheduled a dinner reservation nearby in case the meeting runs long.
Perfect. Thank you. Artificial intelligence has already changed the way companies work, but now a new level is emerging, ushered in by Agentic AI. Unlike traditional AI tools that respond to prompts, Agentic AI systems can plan, decide, and take action. Instead of asking an AI to search for trains or reserve a hotel, you simply give it a goal, and the system figures out the steps on its own. That could fundamentally change how companies operate. And that's why today we're taking a closer look at the rise of Agentic AI. Welcome to Into Germany, the German business podcast from Germany Trade and Invest. I'm your host, Kelly O'Brien. Planning business trips is, of course, only one use for Agentic AI. Another popular one is customer service. Later in the programme, we'll be talking to Traynor, co-founder and chief strategy officer at a fast-growing company called Intercom.
People who get instant accurate answers are really happy. People who get a dedicated team who have a lot of time from them are really happy.
But first, let's get an overview. The global Agentic AI market was worth around $5 billion in 2024, but has been predicted to grow to $50 billion or more by 2030. And a study by global consulting and technology services company Capgemini suggests the technology could generate up to $450 billion in economic value by 2028 through revenue growth and cost savings. To explore what this means, we're joined by Daniela Rittmeier, head of the Generative AI Accelerator at Capgemini. Daniela, you're leading the AI integration and scaling across the industry and along the value chain. The term Agentic AI is everywhere right now. What does it actually mean?
For a lot of our clients, the AI world just opened with a ChatGPT hype, the end of 2022. And so in 2023, that's also interesting, everybody was focusing on generative AI. So to build kind of systems of assistant, which can assist the humans, translate, summarize, and just what you just mentioned with the text supporters, let me say it that way. In 2024, everything was about AI agents. Can I build an agent which is automating one process end to end with human oversight or without the control? Yes, that was a question. And since last year, we are talking about Agentic AI. So these are kind of multi-agent systems. That means that the agents are communicating to each other. And for the one or the other thing, you may not need that human oversight. So as you said, we cannot imagine now and anticipate what that brings for our future, but we know and we all feel that this will be a disruptive change, especially in the collaboration and interaction of a human and the machines. So this is what we already see and will disrupt the entire business and also the entire industry.
So what problems does Agentic AI solve for enterprise clients?
So what we see at the moment across the industry for our clients is that they really have the challenge to integrate and to measure the value add. Yes, so everybody was doing in the last decades hundreds of POCs, proof of concept, to test and validate what might be possible with artificial intelligence. But the challenge at the moment is to measure it. So it's just in Germany. I think we're focusing here today on Germany also and on Europe. Just 6% are able to measure the data value add. So what we are doing is also to put the focus on measurable value add and to transfer the knowledge across the industry and along the value chain to accelerate the development of our client in the kind of need for speed we see at the moment in the market. And what we are doing there, we are taking and developing, let me say it that way, reusable, adaptable AI assets, which we then can copy, paste, and adapt for the other clients. And this is really, really accelerating their development and their transformation.
You've written that AI allows companies to go beyond efficiency and move toward real innovation, meaning they can not only perform existing tasks more efficiently, but also develop entirely new intelligent products and services. You've worked on AI strategy and large-scale use cases before joining Capgemini, including leading the autonomous driving platform and AI strategy across the value chain at BMW Group. From your experience in industry and now in consulting, what does this shift from efficiency to innovation actually look like in practice?
If you take the entire AI portfolio of the clients, you see, of course, multiple goals. The one goal for the client side is to automate the processes they have to increasing the profitability and, of course, at the moment to reduce costs. And the other thing, which I guess you mean with that leap, is to develop intelligent products. So at the moment, and especially in the last 2 years, because of the geopolitical and economical challenges, we see that the hardware-driven industry in Germany and Europe is just focusing on increasing profitability, using the technology to reducing costs. And I see that as a really big concern because that will not help us on the long term to be and to stay competitive in the global customer digital ecosystem. So I think if we think about the different industries, we can think about automotive, where I'm coming from. So there it's not about just the cars to develop faster and more efficient a car. It is also to think about the future of mobility, what mobility services to come from A to B mean, sustainable, fast, cost reducing, of course. And if you look for healthcare, for example, it is not about to develop the next X-ray or the medical device. It is about to think the potential of AI-driven future of healthcare services and prevention first. So what can we do for the society and for the humans? And of course, because of the geopolitical situations and what we see around the world, defense is also on the focus there. And from my perspective, it is not about to make a trunk or drone intelligent. It is about to connect with data and AI technologies, the different kind of devices and the armed forces to defense, to have that kind of intelligent systems which are helping us as humans and bringing us to other new business models.
How would you describe the current state of generative AI adoption in Germany?
So if we look to the facts and figures around the world, and especially also in Germany, we can see that still 90% of the AI use cases are stuck in that so-called POC, proof of concept phase, and bringing not the value and the return of invest the clients were thinking about. And with Agentic AI, it is even worse. So last year, we did from Capgemini a Corporate Research Institute report where we deep dived in that one. And we found out that just 2% of the agentic AI technologies are really integrating and scaling and have the potential to bring that value add.
From your experience, what are the core challenges holding German companies back from scaling these technologies?
The one thing is that the data accessibility and the data quality is not the way how we need it. And if you look to Germany, we are coming from a, let me say, hardware-driven physical world. And a lot of time, the core challenge is that the data is not, in a way, AI ready. Yes. And the other point is if you focus on the data and AI infrastructure, the infrastructure in the past was not made to bring that data into the loop to generate a value add. It was more made to store the data somewhere in a data center. So there we made a big progress in Germany and in Europe, I think, in the last years. So this is fine from my side. But the core challenge, and I also discussed with a C-level last week in the life science sector, the core challenge is a mindset a little bit in Germany We see that the C-levels understood that they have to integrate the technologies, and also the labor workforce, because there's so much pressure with a lack of competencies and with a need for speed. They also think we should push that forward. But we see a little bit a kind of fear of losing the power of the mid-management. I always call it a little bit the hippo syndrome, the highest paid person in the room. We are used to this, that in the past, a lot of times we were trusting on that one. And this is hindering a little bit us. So the challenge is there also to have that mindset shift, to go from the hardware development to the hardware software driven development and to the data driven development. But in a nutshell, if you ask me for the maturity and adoption level, I think we have all we need, yes, in Germany, from technology side and from data side. I think we just have to join the forces and just do it.
Talking about challenges, Germans are said to be rather conservative when it comes to adopting new technologies. In your latest reports, you also ask customers whether they trust AI. In 2023, shortly after the launch of ChatGPT, more than 70% of respondents said they trusted AI-generated content. Over the following years, that number dropped significantly to currently just 27% globally.
So everything is about trust and about test and validating of the AI systems. And in Germany, I think, if you ask me in Germany, we have that additional thing of the German fear, I call it, yes? So if you also look to the database, I think it was from the Bitkom, and also OECD did a research there, 65% of the Germans in business are feared to be replaced by AI, yes? And to lose their job. This is a really challenge. So I totally believe this is in the core, the point of lack of qualification, yes, that they don't know what it is about. It's just tech, it's just math. That is something in the background. And also, as I said before, I'm an engineer, yes, and coming from the automotive and engineering industry. So we also have that zero fault mindset. Yes, we like to be right first time, which is in a way also unrealistic in hardware-driven industry and even more in software. So this is a little bit hindering us, the mindset, to go forward there. So in a nutshell, the solution is to educate the society, to do long life learning and to learn like we are doing here with the podcast. Yes. So we are also making some impact there and doing some kind of education to learn about the technologies and to work against that fear and to work pro the trust.
Earlier, you mentioned that about 2% of companies have already implemented Agentic AI. Which industries in Germany are currently leading the way when it comes to adopting AI technologies?
We see a quite heterogene landscape also in the different kind of industries. So sometimes in automotive, we have some starters, others are more the experimenters or the shapers already. You could say that if you look to the last decade, I would say in the automotive sector, especially because of autonomous driving and the topics of software-defined vehicles, the automotive industry and the first train industry partner learned a lot. They expected to have autonomous driving cars in 2019 or something, and we learned all that is not as easy as we thought it would be. And also, if you look to another industry, the life science sector, I think there was a big push because of Corona. And their life science sector, healthcare and pharma, there are, especially in the R&D sector, so research and development and the product development, quite good, because this is a mindset. They need that kind of data-driven and AI technology to be as fast as it has to be. And if you look also to other industries, let me say public or also the defense sector, because of the geopolitical situation and also the big pressure concerning skills shortage in the labor market, there's also a big push.
You're based in Munich and often talk about the strength of the German innovation ecosystem. From your perspective, what makes Germany and cities like Munich an attractive place for AI development right now?
Munich has an amazing mountain view, yes. It is a big village, like in the valley. And I think this is the place to be for the tech. So we already have that kind of innovation ecosystem here in Germany. We already have the hyperscalers, the startups there. It is really another mindset. It is another spirit, which is really, really motivating. And in the German ecosystem, I think we have all we need to integrate and scale. We have the competencies, we have the engineers from the grown-ups, yes, from the corporates we have here, and we have the mid-size market and also the startups, which is really, really important for me, coming also, Capgemini is a European company. We have that Western mindset and the value set, which is really, really important, human-focused and human centricity. We have, to be honest, also the money. We just have to activate a little bit more and a little bit better and to join the forces there. And which is, I think, a core thing, which was also coming from the CES this year, physical AI. So we have the data from the old economy, from a hardware-driven industry, automotive sector, manufacturing sector, medtech, and also the defense sector, if you look there. So I think we have everything in place here. So welcome everybody to come here to Germany.
If we look at companies that develop AI solutions, where do you see the biggest unmet needs among German companies right now?
The need at the moment is, as I just said before, to unite the things we already have, because let me say it that way, the core challenge is that sometimes the German industry and the big corporates are still think they can do that on their own. Also, based on my experience, I think you will never, ever develop successful, sustainable and sovereign AI system on your own. So it is crucial to work with partners. And we are from Capgemini, are the technology integration and scaling partners. We have no IP. Yes, we have the accelerators, we have the assets, but we are also working with all the tech partners. And there we are working, of course, with the hyperscalers. If you look to Germany, we have here in Munich also Google, we have Microsoft, we have AWS. No matter what the clients need, we are going with that kind of technology partners. We also have chip developers here in Germany. NVIDIA is right next to our office. Infineon is here. And if you look what was happening, especially in the last year, OpenAI opened this office in Munich because they say Germany is, after the US market, the second market, which has the highest adoption and usage of ChatGPT, which was also interesting for me. We have also Mistral AI, which is coming from France, an amazing startup, where we are working a lot with sovereign AI technologies, also to integrate that on premise in the defense sector, for example, or also in high secure industries. And also Anthropic is focusing to have their headquarter, I think it's also in Munich. They have really, really strong models, reasoning models. And based on the discussions we see around the world and also in the US, Germany is the place to be, yes, and the place to grow.
Okay, Daniela, let's switch gears and talk briefly about the European Union's AI Act. How does it affect international companies interested in the German or European market?
Everybody says, oh, I'm special because my industry is so regulated and now the EU AI Act is there. And this is, let me say it that way, sometimes the excuse for deceleration, not acceleration, deceleration. And to be honest, yes, if I go to life science, they say my biggest enemy is medical device regulation. If I go to autonomous driving, then they're complaining about the missing regulations. Public and defense, it's the same. Financial sector also. Let me conclude in that way. I would say no industry around the world is underregulated, especially in the area of data and AI. I would love to see, and there were good reasons to start that EU AI Act from a European perspective. And of course, this is a kind of journey. Yes, this is a start when we also started with a white paper of the EU, where I also had the chance to bring in the industry perspective. I would like that we are shifting that complaining into a solution-orientated approach, and to see that as, we can see that also from German and European perspective as a unique selling point, yes, and a competitive advantage. That we can build that kind of systems trustworthily and inclusive.
As you said, this is an incredibly fast-moving and highly disruptive market. Still, get out your crystal ball. If we fast forward 5 years, What will the AI landscape look like?
5 years. Oh my God. I'm not able to predict the next month or the next year because every day I'm also sometimes surprised a new development is coming up. And then we are testing and validating the new models from a traffic at the moment, which is amazing. Yes. Where also my tech leads say, oh, imagine what is happening. So we really see an exponential development there. So it's really hard for me to predict what will be in 5 years, but perhaps I can change it and shift it into the wish, yes, the wish that we get more active to use the chance to design our future, because this is really a chance for us to, as I said before, that we are designing our future, we are shaping regulations, and we are shaping the way how we would like to interact with that technology. AI is not developing on its own, yes? We humans develop the technology, and we decide in which direction we are creating and are the architects of our future. So that's why I would say get active there for our kids. I also have 2 kids, for our society, for our humans. It is a journey. It will not be solved in a sprint, in one integration. It will not be solved in a marathon. I think it is more like a transformational triathlon, we would say, with a lot of critical thinking. So rather than to predict what will be in the next 5 years, I would love to see that we activate our critical thinking. We bring in our expertise here in Germany and in Europe, and we are the architects of our future.
Thank you, Daniela, for your assessment. One of the Agentic AI architects is the software company Intercom. Its platform helps businesses interact with customers, manage support requests, and automate conversations across digital channels. Co-founder and Chief Strategy Officer Traynor will tell us more shortly. But first, let's take a look at some of the latest German business news. Fusion funding. The southern German regional state of Bavaria has said it's willing to invest 400 million euros in a project that aims to build the world's first nuclear fusion power plant. It's called Alpha, and it's the brainchild of Proxima Fusion, a spin-out of the Max Planck Institute for Plasma Physics. Proxima describes itself as Europe's fastest-growing fusion startup. It hopes to develop a so-called demonstrator by next year and an operational facility by 2033. Clean sweep. Staying in Bavaria, 3 of its facilities to support startups have taken the top 3 places in the Financial Times newspaper's list of Europe's top hubs. Leading the pack was Munich's Unternehmertum. The name is a portmanteau of the German word for entrepreneur and the initials of the Technical University of Munich. Taking second place was Munich's Start 2 group, and third went to Buy Startup from Nuremberg. Hope for the hearing impaired. Dresden-based startup Seamless Therapeutics has concluded a major strategic agreement with healthcare giant Eli Lilly and Company. Seamless specializes in high-precision DNA recombinases, genetic recombination enzymes, to correct flaws that cause hearing loss. The deal sees Lilly providing the fledgling firm with access up to $1.12 billion for research and development. Investment increase. International companies put 96 billion euros into their German operations, says a new study by the think tank German Economic Institute. That figure was only 43 billion euros in 2024. The institute attributed the rise to Germany's fundamental economic, political, and legal stability. In an increasingly uncertain world, predictability counts more than it used to, said the Institute's trade expert Jürgen Mattes. And finally, big deals. 2025 saw venture capital investments in German startups take a big leap. And that momentum shows no sign of slowing down in 2026. There were 5 9-figure funding rounds in the first 2 months of the new year. Topping the list was Berlin company Parloa, which raked in $350 million and tripled its value in only 8 months. The company specializes in, you guessed it, Agentic AI. So, on to Intercom. The US-Irish company has been around since 2011, but has repositioned itself as an AI-first business in the last few years. One of the people behind that transformation is Traynor, co-founder and chief strategy officer, who joins us now. One of Intercom's latest products is Fin, an AI-powered customer support agent. Des, what is Fin? What problem is it designed to solve?
So most businesses offer something called customer support. This way in which the customers have issues, they come to you with questions, they're confused, or there's an issue with something they bought, and they usually contact support. And typically a lot of that support work can be repetitive and undifferentiated. What Fin does is owns the entire queue of customer service and handles the vast majority of the customer service questions for your customers, replies to them instantly and accurately in every language, in every time zone. And it can do that because of the AI architecture that it's built on, which uses the sort of common modern technology of large language models.
We've all been there, stuck on hold for ages, only to get an answer that's useless. Many companies experiment with tools like ChatGPT or other large language models. What makes a specialized AI agent like Fin different?
The risk if you just go with something that's like a generic ChatGPT solution is it's just going to answer based on what it learned from the internet. So it will like recommend your competitors, it will give out of date answers, it will do things that are not consistent with your sort of company. It doesn't have access to any of your internal tools, it can't repeat your order, etc. So typically people don't want to use a off-the-shelf, like a large language model like say Claude or ChatGPT, because it's actually not equipped to give great answers to your customers that are consistent with your company policy. So typically what people do is they want to apply an AI agent for all of their support in all of their channels that which customers talk to them. And to do so, they are looking for basically a very powerful modern AI agent for customer service. So typically you train Fin, you give it all the information that you think is important for it to base its answers on. And in that world, like if it finds a collision or a conflict between something it thinks and something that's in your company documentation, it will believe your company documentation is the authoritative source here. And that's really, really important. So you really want to control the kind of the core material that Fin trains off.
Many companies look to AI mainly for efficiency. In customer service, it's all about satisfaction. And I guess that's exactly where Fin comes in.
Everyone's getting instant replies, and so much of customer satisfaction in support is entirely driven by, did you get an answer quickly or not? People often underestimate how much speed actually matters. Accuracy is a huge thing. Fin will not make mistakes. Fin follows exactly the right answer and is always available. A lot of our customers see 70, 80, 90% total resolutions by Fin. So what happens is the team are only stuck with what's left, which means they've got a smaller pool of work to do, and it means they can put a lot more attention into this. So you kind of get both sides. You get people who get instant accurate answers are really happy. People who get a dedicated team who have a lot of time from them are really happy. So there is a kind of a proper win-win here.
Are there any other areas and use cases where this technology could be applied?
The biggest area of expansion for us throughout this coming year is to move from beyond just customer support into actually being a full customer agent and handling all conversations at every point in the customer lifecycle. So Fin will be able to handle sales and customer success and refunds and renewals and product onboarding and everything in between. Anyone who has a large volume of customer support is always looking for ways to handle it better. So that could be what we call like B2C, like business to consumer. It can be e-commerce. It can be marketplace type of products, online gaming or gambling as well. Like there are a lot of different verticals that deal with a lot of customer support and are trying to make it make sense from a sort of cost center perspective. It's you can't offer perfect service to everyone with humans, but you can do it with AI.
Speaking of expansion, you opened an office in Berlin in January. What made Germany an attractive location?
Germany is an interesting market because I think it's one of the largest European markets straight away. We have a lot of great customers in Germany already. Maybe it's between Germany, Paris, and London for who is the biggest internet city out there, but like Germany is like pretty far up there. And I think the advantage we saw in it is a lot of high quality AI talent and not yet a single magnet that's pulling all the talent into one place. So like it felt to us like there was a big opportunity to hire in Germany in a type of a vacuum where like no one else is building production ready, massive deployment AI software in the city yet. So we had a little office opening a couple of weeks ago. We had probably 700 people show up. It was crazy. But I think a lot of that is because there's a hunger in Berlin for meaningful, like high scale AI product work, and that's what we're trying to do there.
What advice would you give other companies from the same business area who are planning to expand into Germany?
It's been a wonderful experience for us so far. I think like basically picking an office location is important. Holding a welcome event, like as in somewhere that announces your arrival in the city, seems to have worked really well. We have already had a lot of applicants from our launch party alone. I do think we got a lot of, credibility for having our event and for giving real, honest, and sometimes self-critical presentations. I think in general, the culture of Germans, they tend to value honesty and integrity. And I think, and they're a little bit allergic to like hype speak, as in everything's perfect all the time. I think people see through that nonsense a lot. I often say integrity means if what you think and what you say and what you do are all consistent with each other, that's integrity. And I think that's a good posture to have as you enter Germany.
You earlier mentioned the huge interest from AI talent in Berlin. Looking at the other side, the customers, do you see differences in how German companies adopt AI compared to other countries?
I find in general in Europe, country by country, you bump into slightly different rules or slightly different interpretations of vague EU rules regarding data governance, data residency, etc. And Germany is no different than anywhere else in that regard. But it's it's something we've dealt with a lot, and as a result, we have a lot of customers. We already host data in the EU. Fin can work entirely in the EU. But the internet is a kind of global market. I think a lot of people realize if you're trying to build anything, you want to use the best products available, and you'll make pragmatic, realistic trade-offs about what you do. So when people sit down to buy customer support software, maybe they really want it to be EU based. If so, Fin is a great option. Maybe they want to make sure that it's GDPR compliant or follows the e-privacy directive or whatever. We've had to do all that all along. I think in general, maybe the older businesses are a bit more risk averse, but I think software companies, you have to be risk tolerant. You can't be a safe software company in this era of AI. You'll just die, So you have to kind of adapt and react quickly.
Europe has strict data protection and privacy rules. You mentioned the General Data Protection Regulation GDPR and the e-privacy directive, which govern how personal data can be used and how cookies, email marketing, and other communications are handled. How does Intercom address these regulatory requirements in its applications?
One at a time. The problem is they're often written in an extremely vague way. We follow everything that we can understand. So we are fully GDPR compliant. We have every type of qualification, ISO, SOC 2, you name it, every type of standard there is, we follow. I do think within Europe, I worry that we might actually do a lot of harm to our indigenous AI industry with excessive regulation. So if we really want Europe to have a credible AI industry, I think we need to be careful about not burdening the younger companies. Like Intercom's okay, we're 1,100 people, we have lawyers, we know how to navigate all this. I'm more worried if you and your friends start a startup and there's 6 of you and you can't afford to read every single 1,000-page EU document, how do you stay compliant?
Sounds like these regulations can be both a blessing and a curse. Earlier, Daniela Rittmeier from Capgemini pointed out that they can be a selling point, ensuring trustworthy AI applications. But as you said, they can also slow down adoption.
One area I wish we were just better at in Europe was reflecting on what worked and what didn't. We're all familiar with the cookie banners. Does anyone think it did anything useful? Every day, every single one of 250 million Europeans click accept about 10 times a day on websites that they browse. I don't feel any more protected by it, but I think it has frustrated the hell out of me. I'd be okay with Europe throwing out a lot more regulations if I was told that once a year we review them and work out if it did anything good or not. I hope that in this post Mario Draghi report sort of evaluation of the EU posture as it relates to growth and GDP growth, I hope that they realize this. And even I believe the Chancellor of Germany recently said similar as well, that like the administration is becoming too heavyweight. And I just hope that like in this next phase, we start to get a bit more reflective about the areas that we're just slowing ourselves down with like no additional benefit.
Despite that, are you generally optimistic about the future of AI in Europe and Germany?
Yes. I mean, look, the talent is there. The opportunity is there. I think in the UK, they're already showing some great companies that are like leading their way. In Germany as well, there's a wonderful company called Kittel, Kittl. There's a chunk of good AI companies coming out of Europe. I just worry that as they emerge, the EU's first instinct will be to regulate as opposed to support or celebrate. But no, I'm optimistic. All the raw ingredients are there. The only thing we need to do is not kind of strangle them when they're young, you know.
That's a concern echoed by Germany's Minister for Digital Transformation and Government Modernization, Carsten Wildberger, who has called for regulations that enable innovation rather than slow it down. At last year's World AI Summit in Berlin, he spoke about, quote, opening up the gates and allowing our companies to innovate much, much faster, unquote. And with that, we're nearing the end of this episode of Into Germany. Agentic AI may still be emerging, but it's already clear that it will reshape how businesses operate. Many thanks to Daniela Rittmeier from Capgemini and Traynor from Intercom for joining us today. Before we finally say goodbye, let's take our usual look at how Germany works. This legislative period is the first time Germany has had a government ministry directed explicitly at digitalization. Before that, it was part of the portfolio of the Transportation Ministry. The new Ministry for Digital Transformation and Government Modernization is headed by Carsten Wildberger, a trained physicist with a background in business. The ministry name speaks volumes about its remit. The German government sees digitalization, among other things, as a way of cutting red tape and making Germany more efficient. The ministry has just launched 18 pilot projects all over the country to use Agentic AI to improve government administration. 17 municipalities and 10 startups are taking part in the project. And that's how Germany works.
Your big day is almost at hand. Everything's ready for your business trip. The taxi to the airport is coming early, so make sure you get a night's good sleep.
Always good advice. If you too are working on intelligent travel assistants or any other AI innovation, feel free to reach out to Germany Trade and Invest. We can advise you and help you discover whether Germany could be the place for you. All at no cost because we're a government agency. Let's talk at gtai.com. We're also keen on your opinions, suggestions, and questions. Please leave a comment in your favourite podcast app or drop us a line. You'll find all the details in our show notes. So, thanks for listening. Auf Wiederhören, stay smart and connected.